What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode of The Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30 and Still Gaming, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about Rematch again, because Rematch players are flopping about like schools of fishes in the game, and I'll tell you why in a second. We're going to talk about the Netherlands takes Sony to court over digital-only walled garden. It allegedly cost 1.7 million citizens 435 million euros, so we'll talk about that as well. We're also going to watch a little review of RoboCop Rogue City unfinished business gameplay preview, which was about 3 weeks ago. And then there's an interview that happened with the director about 5 days ago. And I believe the game is out, but we're going to watch a couple of those things. And then if we have time, we'll watch and talk about other things as well. We have a little clip about an actor from Mind's Eye and what he thinks about the video game industry, which is actually, I think, quite surprising. So if you guys like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. If you guys missed the show last night we had a Chatting With podcast episode with the real-life fake wizard. We checked out some of his videos the last couple of months, so check that out. That's over on this channel, 30NSG. And it's also going to be up on all places where you can listen to podcasts like Spotify, iTunes, and all the other places. What's going on, chat? What's going on, Mo? What's going on, Sarge? Ray, Eclipse, Water Bear. Who am I missing? Jason, good morning. And let me scroll down a bit. What's going on, Travis? I think it's funny, Ray, that you're like, I come here, the AI are fun, but sometimes I leave and then come back an hour later. You know the show starts directly at 10 o'clock, so you don't have to listen to the music in any way, shape, or form. Like, you don't have to listen to it. Dan, what's going on? Travis says, is Painkiller digital only? I'm not sure. What's going on, Big Mo? I forgot to say hi to you. All right. Let's start off. I want to start off with the Mind's Eye. Little interview thing here. Okay. So this is the actor that plays the main character in Mind's Eye. Okay. Now you would think he's doing like some sort of damage control, what's happening with Mind's Eye, but that's not it. That's not it, right? So the actual thing about it says Mind's Eye actor speaks out about the game being broken. So let's listen to what he has to say about the game being broken. Oh, you can't hear. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. Back again. Here we go.
I don't know whether it's not a lack of QA. I met the QA testers and they seem competent at their job. But for whatever reason, the company deciding to release something that has these issues, and then sort of taking care of it post-mortem, post-release. Obviously we were not the first game to do that, like a very notorious.
No, you're not. But you see what he's kind of bringing up. He's like, I don't know. He's like, I met the QA testers, which are just, let's be honest, in a board of people that are making video games, QA testers are like the bottom rung. They literally are the bottom rung, right? But they're also one of the most important because they're quality testing the actual game. But they're also the bottom rung. That's like a rotating door of people coming in and leaving. Most people that are QA testers are people that are striving to be a developer or trying to get their foot in the door with the company and stuff like that. So the QA testers are literally the bottom rung.
Glorious example is Cyberpunk, and there have been others. Mm-hmm. And as a gamer, as a consumer, I don't love that. I don't love that model. I don't like that moving forward. I'm not a business person. So I also want to be very clear that I have no idea why that decision gets made.
Greed. Greed is the reason it gets made. The reason a game gets let out early, broke, buggy, unfinished, is because they've spent so much money and they don't want to spend any more, so they throw it out the door, okay, so they can try to make their money back before the game is done. Now, you guys know where I stand, right? I always talk about if you're going to throw a game out early, put an early access, alpha, beta, preview program, whatever it is. Grounded 2 is coming out, okay? They're charging, I think, $30 for that if you buy it separately. But if you're on Game Pass, then you can play it in the early preview program. It's an early preview program, so you know if there's bugs or glitches and stuff that comes out with it, you're like, well, it's early. It might be an easy excuse, but at least you know what you're getting into, as a customer, you're like, oh, I got this game. It's an early access. It's beta, alpha, whatever. But what these companies are doing now is they're sending them out the door, and they're telling you it's full price, but we're going to fix it later. But we want your full price, even though their game was $60, okay? They want full price for their game, even though they're not giving you a full price game.
I will just say that from a consumer perspective, and I'm sure a lot of people feel this way, I think it does more long-term harm than good to your reputation.
Absolutely.
To release something that feels like it is in a state of less than 100% and then charge 100% of a price.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you have to be honest with your consumer. And in fact, like, I, as a player, would rather be told this is in beta. Like, I know you've been waiting for this for a long time, but this is a beta release of this game. And so whether it's you get to play it for free on some sort of invite list.
It's amazing. It's amazing how many people are right about this. Like, this is it. This is the right way. If it's beta, put it out as a beta. Let the customers know.
Or it's $20, $30, $15. What insert price? I don't know what the model would be, but like, it's a much smaller fee. Know that this shit isn't done. No, it's not done. So please come interact with our thing, give us feedback, but no, it's not done. And obviously beta is a thing like that. That is a already pre-established practice. And so I'm not sure what drives companies to essentially carry out beta testing, like, without calling it that.
Yeah.
I, as a consumer, would rather be told, would rather have someone be upfront, because then I know what I'm signing up for.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Do you think they knew about the problems within the game before they released it? Do you think
100%.
they were aware that it would be the turn up?
I can't really speak to that.
The answer is unequivocally yes. Yes, they knew about the problems. How is that even a question? 100% the studio released the game knowing it was in that state, because they even admitted it to themselves when the developer said, "Or we're going to work hard on fixing the problem." They knew the problems before it launched. Get out of here. Okay? People need to wake up. Wake up. Companies release things broken, buggy. Ray says it in chat. Okay? He says it's a standard because it works. People bought broken Monster Hunter Wild, but don't buy bug-free games. That's right. Right? It's easier to sell your game, make your money, and then once you have the money, you can take your sweet, sweet time, okay, on fixing stuff because you already have the money. See, beforehand, you have to work hard to make a product to at least trick people to buying it. But once it's out in the public and people are playing it, they're like, oh, well, we didn't know about the bad stuff in the game. Oh, pardon us. Thanks, beta testers, right? Like, all of you, all of us, we're beta testers for full price. They're paying QA testers in companies, okay, minimum wage, and yet you're paying to be a minimum wage worker, okay, that they get to play the games in-house, but you get to play it in your house. So for the convenience factor, we're going to charge you $70, $80, $90, $100, $120 so you could test the game out for us, and then we can fix it for you later once you figure out what's the problems. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. We're listening. Thank you much. We have a battle pass. We have a roadmap. We have all of these things to make the game better for you. It's so dumb. It's exactly, and why? Why would they be motivated to fix the game? Because they don't have to fix the game right now. Be like, oh yeah, but that would hurt the game. That would hurt the business. Goldfish brain. The next Monster Hunter that comes out, people will buy the Monster Hunter. They'll be like, oh man, Worlds was awesome. Wilds not so much, but Worlds was awesome. They're not going to do 2 Wilds in a row, are they? Right? That's the thing. They bank on Goldfish brain. They bank on the money up front. They bank on you buying collector's editions with no video games. Okay? This is what the business is now. Rogue says, I mean, would you keep going to a restaurant where they kept cooking your food wrong and have to keep fixing it, and after it comes to your table? Heck, no, you wouldn't. Unless the waitress was hot and you wanted to date her. That would be the only reason, Roic. You're like, man, there's a cute waitress that works there. That would be the only reason. Otherwise, no, you wouldn't go back. You'd be like, I'm never going back to that restaurant again because that restaurant is a piece of shit. I got food poisoning. You're going back to that restaurant? No, you're not going back to that restaurant. No, we'll get your steak right the next time. I'm not coming back to your restaurant. I'll go somewhere else. Hal says exactly. Why pay people to test the game when you could trick people into paying them to test the game? That's exactly right. What's going on, Ford? Eclipse says a bank owned people to pre-order a game 6 months in advance for some reason. It's infuriating. It's infuriating. And look, we'll never stop talking about this because this happens every week. Every week a game comes out, and every week there'll be one game that comes out that's broke, buggy, unfinished. People are like, well, I'm having fun. Great. You are the reason that video game industry sucks because you're buying games that are broke, buggy, and unfinished. But you're having fun, so fantastic. Roic says, not only trick people, but get them to pay you for the privilege. That's right. See, this is why I say if it's early access or preview, for instance, RuneScape Dragon Wild, okay? Early access. I paid $25 for that. I know going into that game that they're going to be fixing it. I enjoyed playing it. I got 30, 40 hours in that game. I know they're going to fix it over time. Enshrouded, when they first put it out, the discounted price, you knew what you were getting into, okay? But these AAA companies, or quadruple A companies, okay, are putting a game out, and they know it's broke. They know it's buggy. Like, who works on something and doesn't know it's finished? Right? When you get dressed in the morning, do you just put shorts on and say, I'm done getting dressed? No, you know that you have to continue putting a shirt on and socks and shoes and get ready. You don't just put like a shirt on, Donald Duck it, and walk outside the house and go, oh, I didn't know. I'll put on pants later. Like, what are we talking about? You know when you're done with the project. You know when you're done with the project. Mo says, Mo's just on his little Xbox rant here. He's trying to bait people. All right, let's go to the next story. Next story is rematch players are flopping around like schools of flying fishes because, and I tested this, and it's actually faster. Do you remember? Of course you remember. You guys are not like everybody else with goldfish brains. You remember when I told you that gamers find the easiest path no matter what it is. The easiest path, okay? Do you know why people in first-person shooter games jump instead of walking, right? They hop. They do the hop. It's because it's faster, okay? So everyone just walks around or runs around by hopping because it's faster than walking, okay? Well, remember how I told you in Dune Awakening, you don't need to do certain things because there's stat nerds out there that'll figure out that you don't need this power plant because this power plant's not worth your time because getting the resources to make this is harder than just making the smaller one and making multiples of those. Well, here we are now with Rematch. Now, we played Rematch on Monday, enjoyed it, okay? Rematch players are flopping about like schools of flying fish because, and I tested it, it's actually faster, okay? So Rematch is doing a great for Soul Clap, and it's a good reason. The glorious-looking footy game blends the studio's penchant for fighting game glory and also some proper techers, okay? It says minor issues with lag and netcode aside. That's an issue there, right? I've been having a good time. Now, however, it's been playing. You might start to notice that some strange natural phenomenon is happening. Schools of players are flopping around about like schools of majestic flying fish. A hive mind of spaghetti limb, okay, that turns slow clap living presentation into something altogether sillier. Okay, so here's what's happening. You'll see people start jumping up in the air like this. Okay, and you're like, well, why are they doing that? Why are they jumping around like schools of fish? Well, it's easy because it's an advantage. It's an advantage because it's the easiest way to get down the field besides using turbo. Okay, so while this might look like a meme at first, it turns out that actually is significantly more effective. It says, no, really, I tested it. Booting up a rematch and heading into free play, I went ahead and did some runs horizontally across the field using a halfway line as a guide. I recorded 5 times with a stopwatch and snagged the average. Here are my findings. Do you see what's happening here? Right? Water will find the lowest point. Gamers will find the easiest method. This is how this works, right? You can make a game as fun as you want. You can have the strict rules that you want, but someone's going to figure out how to shake those rules apart and then reintroduce a new rule, and then that's what everyone does, okay? So It says sprinting is 8.07 seconds. That's your bar. That's part of the mechanic of the game, okay, where you get to sprint 8 seconds from halfway through the field to the goal, right? Sprinting extra effort, 7.58 seconds round up, okay? And flopping, okay? Flopping is 7.13 seconds, rounded down a little bit, okay? Now, that's almost an entire second of difference. I could also note that generally repeatedly diving is harder to control, and I didn't exactly keep my character on a straight and narrow during these tests. It still beats out the normal running by a effective margin, okay? But it's still the highest dolphin dive item is 7.42. It's significantly faster than the lowest effort of sprinting of 7.55. Here's the full list, okay? So this is sprinting. These are his 5 times with sprinting. This is the sprinting with extra effort, all right? And then this is just flopping like a fish, okay? So obviously, he got down to 6.9, 6.8, which is a second and a half faster, okay? So the only downside is that flopping is slightly more ineffective, though not by a huge margin. Running horizontal across the field brings you about 1/4 of the stamina bar, where flopping, depending on how straight you manage to keep your character, typically depletes all of it. Still, I can conclusively say that you need to get somewhere quickly. Holding down sprint and diving repeatedly is 100% faster than doing something normal like jogging or foreseeing a hot fix and slow clap for the future. Okay, so obviously there's going to be a fix coming in, but it doesn't matter if they do a fix because, again, gamers are going to find the easiest path moving forward. Okay, so now, obviously, the headbutt motion, when you do this, okay, everyone's going to do that. So now when you play this game, because this article came out and now I'm talking about it and other people are talking about it, okay, now when you play this game, that's what everyone's going to do. Everyone's going to do that. Just like when you play first-person shooter games, everyone's hopping around because it's harder to hit, the hitboxes, that's what happens, okay? Then they had to add a stamina bar, right? Because, well, if you had a stamina bar, you can't jump as high and whatnot to stop that from happening. So now they got to figure out a way to stop this from happening in the game, or maybe they lean into it, right? Maybe they lean into it. Maybe that's what they just leave it as is. But I just think it's funny, right? We talk about it all the time in games that gamers are going to find the weakest point and they're going to abuse it. And here it is in a soccer game. How do you get down the field faster? Well, you flop like a fish. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Isn't that funny? I think that's funny, chat. I think it's funny because it's a soccer game. All you're doing is running down the field. And they're like, how do you get down the field faster? Well, we found out if you jump like in the air like a fish, like you're headbutting, well, you get down there in almost a second faster, which that's how you can keep up with people or catch up to people. PS5 Blow says people buy PlayStation 5 even though it doesn't have games anymore because of the dumbing down of the population. No one can critically think. Is that the reason? Is that the reason PS5? We do have a story about the PlayStation with the lawsuit going on, and I already know there's going to be defenders. Just off the bat. I haven't even read the story yet. I don't even know what the story is. I just know there's a lawsuit, but there'll be people that defend it. Besides the defenders that work for Sony. All right. We got fast topics this morning. Fast topics. All right. If you guys like what I do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. If you hit that like button, it does help us out. We are a very small channel trying to grow, and the only way that happens is if you guys hit that like button and it shows it to other people that are on the algorithm in YouTube. All right, so the Netherlands takes Sony to court over digital-only walled garden, allegedly costing 1.7 million 1.7 million citizens, 435 million euros since 2013. Okay, so those diskless PS5s sure to rack up a bill at PlayStation Store. Okay, so in the EU, a class action lawsuit has been leveled against Sony for the saying that the artificial high prices on the PlayStation Store. Now, I think you could do this across the board. Obviously, like you could say this for Nintendo. You could probably say this for the Xbox, but the reason I'm assuming it's happening in the Netherlands is because, well, there's more people that own a PlayStation that they own an Xbox there, right? So I don't want to say this is just against PlayStation, but this particular story is against PlayStation, but I think you could sue basically any company with the same premise of this, right? So the lawsuit claims that Sony's monopoly and control over pricing and its proprietary store, okay, as a cost of Dutch PlayStation gamers 435 million euros since 2013. According to TechSpot, the case began with a mass damage consumer foundation launched a Fair PlayStation campaign back in February this year. A few days in the petition garnered an interest of over 20,000 Dutch residents who believe that they are also taken for a ride by Sony's business practices. Since then, the case has grown into a class action lawsuit with at least 1.7 million PlayStation owners potentially seeking compensation. Okay. Many people noticed that there's also increasingly being pushed towards digital-only consoles since the last PlayStation 5 generation, says Lucy Melchertz, chair of the Mass Damage Consumer Foundation. He says, quote, these consoles work exclusively with digital games instead of physical discs. However, the economy research has shown that the consumers pay an average of 40% more for these digital versions of exactly the same game on physical discs, while the distribution costs for Sony are actually lower. So I already know what people are going to say right there, okay? You guys are going to be like, well, they don't have to get a PlayStation digital. They can get a PlayStation with a disc drive, okay? Yeah, sure, they have to pay $80 more for that disc drive because it's not sold with the actual console. It's sold separately, okay? And then second on top of that, magically in stores, because people still do shop in stores, or even online in certain regions, you don't even get the chance to buy a physical one because they're only giving you the option to buy digital, right? So someone will be like, no, they have a physical and a digital. You could purchase both of them. Yeah, sure, in maybe your region, but in other regions, okay, they don't have that option because they're not being given that option because in stores, they only deliver the discless versions. They only deliver online in the online stores in their regions where they can only get the discless versions. I said this 6 years ago. I said when they come out with a discless and disc version, miraculously, you're going to find a lot more discless versions, okay, in stores rather than the actual disc versions in stores. Why? Because they want you in their ecosystem. Much easier, right? People are spontaneous. They want to buy stuff, right? You go to the store, you're like, I came here for a physical disc one, but they don't have it. But they do have the discless one. You're like, well, it is cheaper. I'm going to pick that up, right? And then they have you in the ecosystem. And once they have you in the ecosystem, they can charge, at least from there, what they're saying is, on the average, each game is 47% more digital version than the actual physical version. Okay? It says, for console gamers, having price tied to game store owned by the manufacturer isn't exactly news. Instead, it's simply the way that things are done. That's just a hand wave, right? Well, that's just the way it is now. That's just the way it is now. If you don't like it, don't play games. And that mentality right there is the reason that they're doing what they're doing, right? If you don't like it, then stop playing games. No. I love playing games, and I'm going to fight for it where people are not getting screwed over by these corporations that are trying to take advantage of the system, okay? It says, I think of all of this as been appalled by the pricing of those platforms. I've also seen new games releases for half the price in store or on Steam compared to the e-commerce console counterparts. When you lock into buying a digital-only content, like many also who own a discless PlayStation 5, then the only option you have is that you're suck it up and pay the price offered, right? And obviously, the industry, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, they all know this. Hence why they went digital so they could stop GameStop or third-party sales, or for you owning a disc and then putting it on Facebook Marketplace or whatever the other sites are called, where you can sell it locally. Facebook, you got OfferUp, you got eBay, whatever, okay? To stop that from happening, because why? You're hurting their pockets. There's no way that you're allowed to sell your game to someone else in a disc version. How do we stop that? Well, we'll just make no disc version, okay? Make it more convenient for you, okay? So, well, not in the EU. Thanks to a stronger pro-consumer laws, thank you, EU, they have the opportunity to challenge such practices via lawsuits like these. As a console owner, I have definitely noticed things feeling especially expensive on the digital storefront on the PlayStation 5, especially the first-party Sony titles. There's also been more of a few times where I've also been priced out of sinking my teeth into a new release of a game, and I kind of wonder why I spent so much on this thing to begin with. Well, first of all, you don't have to buy a game day one. You don't have to buy it week one. You don't have to buy it month one. The longer you wait, the cheaper it goes. This is just logic. Doesn't help your problem that it's still only digital, but don't buy games day one. Like the Real Fake Wizard says, for God's sakes, stop and cancel Disney Plus. For God's sakes, stop buying games day one. Okay? You don't need to buy a game day one. Okay? So it says, I wonder why I spent so much on the thing to begin with. I feel like it's especially prevalent in the Dutch population, given the sheer prevalence of PlayStation ownership. It says, the fact that Sony dares to increase prices by tens of percents without the compensation is very telling on the proposition, okay, or proportions, okay? It says, Sony is the only provider for digital content on the most popular game console in the world. All of the Dutch people who have a game console at home, more than 80% have a PlayStation. It can now afford to make decisions without having to worry much more about the competitors, developers, or consumers are doing. It says the hearing for this case is set to take place later this year. Though, of course, Sony is no stranger to lawsuits about games or about hardware. It will have to add itself to another similar cases like other class action lawsuits Sony is facing in the UK. This one is set to see in court on March of 2026 after Sony failed to have it thrown out. It's also for a fair bit of more cash, which is also the class action suit coming at $7.9 billion. It also is a similar issue with Sony's butchered it. Politics? That's not politics. Polysthetic? Business practices. Butchered it. So it's also a Dutch case goes ahead before it. We could also get a look into what Sony might face against the UK courts. So there you go, right? So again, take Sony out of this. This particular article is about Sony. But you can replace Sony with Nintendo. You can replace Sony with Microsoft. You can replace Sony with any business that goes across. If I don't have the option, I mean, there is an option. We could sell you a disc or discless version, but we only provide you with the discless version in your local stores. Then you're in my ecosystem. And once you're in my ecosystem, well, then you have to buy my game. You can't go to a third-party site of EB or Electronic Boutique or where any else a game is sold. You can't borrow a game from your friend. You can't do anything like that. Okay? You're stuck in that ecosystem, and this is where they want you to go. Then they'll try to make you, well, now the prices are so high, and you're stuck in, well, if you don't like the prices, well, maybe you'll like it going into this subscription service, right? That's how these businesses work. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think? Do you think that maybe the UK or the Netherlands have an actual case here? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let me see what you guys are saying here. Travis says, or buy what you want and don't let anyone dictate what you can do with your money, but realize if you do it, you also shouldn't be bitch about it. Correct. But if someone, how do I say this, right? So if people buy $80, we talked about this last night with the Wizard, right? So if people buy $80 games, we did an example, like if gas down the street is $5 and you go to that gas station, buy $5 gas, and then you bitch about it, I can't believe that gas station's got $5 for gas. But you bought it, right? You're bitching about it, but you bought it at $5. Okay? $5 a gallon, right? And you're like, I can't believe it's $5, right? Well, that incentivizes the gas station to keep those prices, and if not, go higher to see how far they can go. But if you don't buy the $5 gas, guess what? You could drive somewhere else and go see if there's cheaper gas, or you don't get gas for a couple days. Obviously, you can't do that because of life, and you have to go to work, and you have to do different things. But if you support someone with high prices, those prices are not going to drop because the market says that they're going to keep their prices where they are. Okay? In video games, if they purposely stop you from buying physical copies because they're putting it on digital, and then the digital games are now $80, and you buy those $80 games, and then you bitch later that, well, that wasn't really worth $80. I had fun, right? You're wrecking the actual industry itself. You're not fixing it. You are the problem, right? Do what you want with your money, but don't you dare bitch about that the games are broke, buggy, and unfinished if you're paying full price for these games, okay? Because you're having fun, right? Literally, buying these games that are broke, buggy, and unfinished that you're having fun with is ruining the actual industry because that's sending the message. Hence why microtransactions, the message is sent. You don't want to pay $20 for a thing, but the smaller percentage of people that pay $100 for microtransaction or pay $20 for a skin or pay $5 for a skin, that is it. They don't care about the masses. They know the small portion, 20% makes 80%. And if they get 20% of the people buy these microtransactions, they don't care what the 80% say, right? And then these people are like, well, I'm having fun. But they're ruining the industry for the 80%. Right? They're ruining the industry for the 80%. And they think that people like myself are angry or pissed off or bitch about it because, we're just mad at the people. No, we're mad because we're on your side, and yet you're sabotaging it, right? You're sabotaging your own thing that you love. You love video games, you love playing video games, but you also like paying full price for video games, which in any other field you wouldn't pay full price for. You don't pay full price for your groceries. At least I hope you don't. You try to buy the BOGOs. You try to get things on sale, right? You try to get a discount on everything. You buy a refrigerator, you try to wheel and deal. Hey, maybe I can buy. What about if I buy a washer and dryer with the fridge? Do I get a discount of like $300, whatever? Like in no other place except video games, where I was like, yeah, full price. It's broken, buggy, it's glitched. They'll fix it in 18 months. I'm having fun though. I'm having fun. Ray says, I only bought 2 games day one in the last 2 years. Unicorn, Overlord, and Helldivers. I mean, they'll also just sell out of court. Well, this one's going past that because they couldn't throw it out of court. So they're going to be moving it past that point. Kraken says, I think PC better and PlayStation players deserve to pay more. Crowded House says, so everyone's going to raise the prices of games to try to force people into subscription program. Yeah, 100%. 100%, Crowded. That's the move. That's the move, right? Because if you make the problem, you sell the solution. Right now, you make the problem. The problem is, well, we got rid of the disk drive. So now we make digital games. The problem is, well, you can go get a disk drive, but it's going to cost you an additional $80 for PlayStation, okay? Which costs you additional, I forget what it is for Xbox if you buy the Xbox Series X, right? Make the problem, sell the solution. We have digital games, but if you like physical games, you're going to pay for that up front with the disk drive for that physical game. And then the masses are going to get the digital stuff, and they're like, well, we're going to keep raising the price of the digital stuff. And they're like, well, I don't want to pay $80 for games or $90 or $100 for games. Well, if you don't want to pay that, well, we have this platform. If later down the road it's on PlayStation Plus, or if it's on the Nintendo thing, if you want to play the GameCube stuff, right? Or you want to play on Game Pass, right? Make the price go up. Better for subscription services. Then once the subscription services have enough people, then they'll raise the price of that as well. That's what they do. Waterbear says, it is crazy, though, that when you buy a digital-only version of the console, you're stuck buying the higher price when the physical copies is like 50% off. That's correct. You can never get the discount unless they give you the discount. Right? But last night, even like we said, everyone expected Borderlands 4 to be $80. But now Randy Pitcher fought for you, right? Well, see, it's not $80, it's $70. Everyone's like, oh, you saved us money. That's right, because $70 was the game. And now they're fixated. They're like, see, this is better. So I'm gonna support Borderlands 4 because they're not making a $80 game. They're making a $70 game. Well, let me tell you something. Games shouldn't be $70 either, okay? Eclipse says digital should not be the same price as physical game in this discussion. Remember when they said physical games would be more expensive than digital games? And yet for some strange reason, digital games are more expensive than physical games. It's amazing. Travis says, make problem, sell soul. Join. Ray says, I love buying physical, but the Xbox is it's a gamble. I strategically try to get them cheapest price before, and they're also out of stock. Xbox rarely gets reprint. Yeah, Jason. Dustin buys everything, so whatever he says, I kind of just throw out the window because his voice, and this is the point right here, right? He could say what he wants, but we know how he is, so it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't really matter. You don't get them on sale, Dustin. You pay full price for stuff. You literally bitched about something the other week, right? And if you're bitching and you're just trolling, well, then I really don't trust you anyway, because you just bullshit. You're actually worse than Travis. At least Travis believes what he says. At least Travis believes what he says. You just say shit to say shit. Travis says games shouldn't be above 50, but they just are like how eggs shouldn't be $8 a carton, but they are. Well, that's a little different. When you murder the things that are actually making eggs and you have to make the backup until they get back up to the production level, games are games, especially when they're digital. They don't need to be that much. They're doing that much for profit. The reason eggs go up is because there's a shortage of actual eggs. There's not a shortage of digital goods. Roic says you're stuck in the ecosystem when you buy digital, and you're more likely to stay in it since you switch. You have to also buy again for the different ecosystem. Right. Well, it's also what is that, sunk cost fallacy, right? When you're in the ecosystem, you're that's it. So let's say now you go to the next Xbox. Well, you lose all these games unless you keep that on the Xbox, and you still have to pay your fee. But now, if I get the next Xbox, right, for Game Pass or whatever, obviously you pay for Game Pass, you can still play those games. But if you stop paying, you lose all those games. But also the things that, if they don't preserve those games going forward, which I think Xbox might do, we don't know for sure. But there's a lot of games you can play, and there's a lot of games you can't. Same things will go with PlayStation. All these games that you can play now, are you going to be able to play those on the next PlayStation? Or do you lose all those games and you have to rebuy them like Nintendo's doing? Oh, here's an upgrade. Here's an upgrade for $10. Here's an upgrade for $20. Eclipse says, this is why I love about Steam. You barely see $70 titles. And if you do, you just probably get you the cheap off third-party sites. Travis says, I thought you were discussing games, period. I was saying that games, physical or digital, shouldn't be above 50. Ray says, I'm not scared of the future of gaming. Many Sandfall studios will pop up everywhere around the world. I would hope there's more game companies like making games like Expedition 33. But at the same time, it's real simple for corporations to buy other companies up and put them underneath their umbrella, right? And it's really hard because even Expedition 33, their next game is probably going to be a little bit more cost, right? They'll be to a point at some point, unless they get outside help or whatever, that they're going to have to, hopefully not, right? Hopefully they make a game and then don't make such a much bigger game where they have to go outside source. They can just make it sort of like Helldivers. Arrowhead made so much money from Helldivers 2, that they don't really need Sony for their next game. They can publish their own game if they choose to. So they're smart like that. Palworld, same thing. They made so much money they don't know what to do with, but they can publish their own next game as long as their next game is not exponentially higher than their last game. But slowly it's going to build up because as you build your games, you're going to get more employees. You get more employees, you get more budget. You get more budget, it gets inflated. So it all depends. No Man's Sky did the same thing. No Man's Sky was 14 people. Now they're like 30 people. So obviously their next game is going to cost a little bit more than what No Man's Sky cost them because there's more people working on the game now. So you would hope that there's more pop-ups like this, like studios like Sandfall, where it's smaller groups making good products, make a game, sell a game. House says, console is sinking ship and Travis is the captain. I'll go down with it like a good captain should. Yeah, Light No Fire is probably going to be a much bigger budget than No Man's Sky was. Jason says, long live physical. Look, I love physical. I love taking the disc and putting it in the machine and, you can play those games. Expedition 33, someone did it on X that the game is on the disc. The game is actually on the disc. But he also said that if they do any kind of updates or anything like that, you have to go online to get those fixes. But, the actual game is on the disc. So Expedition 33, you can play offline. Eclipse says, man, I think about it. The guy that did Schedule 1 is going to start a company and makes a bigger game. Right. Well, even if he I mean, he made a shit ton of money from Schedule 1, right? But even if he hires 3 people, his next game is going to be a bigger budget than his last game, right? Roic says, let me ask this. If you bought it digital, but you had access to it on any platform, would the higher price be worth it? If you bought it digital, but you had access to it on any platform, would that higher price be worth it? So you're saying you're paying for a higher price because you bought it digital, but it's on all platforms, is what you're saying? If you had access to Expedition 33, which is basically on Xbox, right? If I get it on Xbox on Game Pass, I can play it on my headset, I can play it on the television set, I can play it on my mobile phone, I can play it on the console, I can play it from the cloud, whatever. Is that worth the higher price? That game itself, Expedition 33, goes against what you're saying because they are charging $50, right? That one game kind of nullifies what you're saying. It shouldn't be more price because they can give you that game for $50 and you can play it everywhere, at least on the Xbox platform. Right? So you're saying, would you pay a higher price, though, if I could play it everywhere? I would say that's a lost. What's the term I'm looking for? That's like a bonus, right? So for instance, if I'm buying the game, I'm just buying the game. If they provide more bonus on top of that, that's just bonus. That shouldn't be encapsulated on the actual price of the game, right? Because I didn't ask for that, right? Because then maybe I only want to buy the version that only works for my console. I don't want to buy the game that goes everywhere type of thing. Travis says, shit, look at the Lost Souls aside. Literally 3 dudes. Now it's Sony backing them, and they don't think they did it because they saw potential. I mean, I think I will buy a glossy paper and print labels and make my own game boxes for decoration. People used to do that all the time. Yeah. Crowd says Nintendo pisses me off the most. It's a goddamn cartridge, and it still have to log in online to play them. What the fuck? I mean, do you actually have, House, do you actually have a Switch 2 and you're playing it and you're upset about it? Or are you just upset about it because other people are saying this? Travis says, we need a new song called Nintendo Isn't Gamers. Roic says, no, I was meaning if I could play it on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, etc. for just the one price. Right. So basically what I said was if you could buy it on Xbox and you play it on all those different platforms, right? If you're saying if I could buy it once and then play it on my PlayStation, play it on... See, that'll never happen because the other company doesn't want that because they want to make that sale because they make money off of the software, not the hardware. Hardware, they used to lose money. They would take the loss, right? They would take that loss of selling you a console for cheaper price because they know they would make it over the long period of time with the software. If you could buy a game and then play it on all consoles, I could play it on Nintendo and PlayStation and Xbox and PC, who gets the cut then? Who gets that cut? Right? Now, Xbox is doing something different because if you buy the game on their platform, if it's Windows or if it's through the Xbox, you can play it in multiple places, not on different consoles, but you can play it on the PlayStation, the PC, you can play it on the cloud, you can play it on the TV. So is that worth more money? I don't think so. I think that's just a bonus that, hey, if you pick this game on this platform, you can play it everywhere, play anywhere. Kraken says Steam and Xbox are already tackling a play anywhere approach without the additional cost. Why would I pay more? Exactly, Kraken. Right? That's just that's the service that they're providing. I don't want to pay more for that because if they said, well, if you want to play anywhere, it costs more, I'm out. But if I could pay for the cheaper version just to play it on one system, then I'll do that. But they've already established that you can play it anywhere. And Expedition is $50. So why would I pay $80 or $70 for a game to do the same thing when I could pay $50 and play a game everywhere? I'm not buying Switch anything. Okay, so you're upset at Nintendo, but you're not a Nintendo customer. Which is good, because if you're upset at Nintendo and you're not a customer, then problem solved, right? You're not supporting the thing that you don't like. It would be weird if you're upset at Nintendo and you knew going in that they were like this, but now you own a Nintendo. Right? You're not partaking, right? You're not partaking in their ecosystem. And that's what you should do. You shouldn't buy the $5 gas. You shouldn't buy the $80 games. You shouldn't buy the $150 collector's edition with no game. Right? We the consumers tell the companies what it's worth. We always say what the market is. The market will bear what the market bears. If 20% of the people make 80% of the money for companies with microtransactions, don't you think that's the same thing how it works everywhere else? 20% of the people make the thing of 80 people. Remember Diablo Immortal? Diablo Immortal, when it came out, there was millions of people playing it, but there was only tens of thousands of people that were spending microtransactions, and they were spending $50,000. Well, guess who they're going to listen to? Are they going to listen to the majority? No, they're going to listen to the minority that's paying them the majority. Ray says, Crowded House, I have a Mexican friend who Nintendo it's his god, and told me that what he loves about Nintendo, advantages of Switch 2, killed all those advantages. Okay? I haven't bought a Nintendo product in 18 years. Well, there you go. So then, House, then you're upset because you don't like what they're doing, and you're interested. You would buy Nintendo, but because Nintendo's doing what they're doing, you're like, I'm pissed off because you want to buy a Nintendo product, but you don't agree with what they're doing. I complained buying a Switch 2 for my wife until I saw the game prices. Or I contemplated. Gotcha. So that's why you're upset. Okay. So you're upset because you wanted to buy a Nintendo. Because one of your loved ones wanted it and you wanted to make them happy and buy a Nintendo, but then you're like, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that for the video games because you'll be locked into their prices. We as consumers only have one way to tell if a company how we feel, and that's with our wallets. Well, two ways really. It's with our wallets and now reviews. And people don't like when we review bomb something. But we have to review bomb something because if you don't review bomb something, they don't listen, right? You got to hurt them where it hurts. And if we review bomb something and that stops sales from happening because people go look at it and go, oh, why is it so negative? I'm not going to buy it. There's something wrong. They don't dive into why it's negative. They just see that it's negative and they won't buy it, which is the point. And then once they let up on what's happening, then the public says, okay, I'll switch it back over to positive, right? Look what happened to Helldivers, right? Helldivers like this, and then Sony did something stupid, and then it went like this, and then they fixed it, and it went back up like this because that's the only voice that we have. We already purchased it, so how do you complain after that? Travis says, moral of the story, don't have loved ones. Yeah, that's easy. Then you don't have to feel about anything. No, but I understand where Crowd's coming from, right? He's like, she's interested, right? And I'm going to make this up just as we go right here, right? Let's say Crowded, he's a gamer, right? And his wife is not so much of a gamer. But all of a sudden she shows interest in, oh, yeah, I'm interested in Nintendo. And he goes, oh, yeah, I'm going to buy Nintendo so we can have this closer relationship where we can game together, right? And then all of a sudden, he sees the price and is like, oh, yeah, now he's mad, right? Now he's mad because he can't have that thing because he loves his wife, but at the same time, he also loves his money where he does not waste it on a product where he knows he can get a better deal for his money, right? Am I close? Crowded? Right? Because that's the way I feel. Like you're upset at Nintendo because you wanted to buy Nintendo, but now you're like, I just don't like their business. And you're upset because now you and your wife can't play Nintendo. Right? Because if you buy it, right? If you buy it, you're going to have regret that you bought it to have this. Exactly. I don't love my wife that much. All right. See, I nailed it. I nailed it. Yeah. I understand that because when your comment is like you're upset with Nintendo, and I'm like, well, did you own a Nintendo? You're like, I haven't bought it in 18 years. I'm like, oh, well, that means that you're upset because you wanted to buy it, but something happened. And then when you said your wife was involved because you wanted to buy it for your wife, I was like, oh, I see why you're upset with them now. Get her a Wii U. She can't tell the difference. Yeah. She's like, is this the new Switch? Yeah, dear, it's the new Switch. Why do I have these different style of games? I don't understand. Susie down the street, how come I can't play online with her? She's playing Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing's not even on this thing. Travis says, breaking news, gaming is fine. It's non-issue in 2 years. I won't let us play games, so non-issues. Krause says, I grew up with Nintendo. I just like the path they took. Or, yeah, I just like the path they took. Or don't like the path. Oh, don't like. Okay. Rourke says, with all these new handhelds coming out, Nintendo is going to have to do something different, or they will fail. Some of the handhelds are way better than Switch 2. If the pricing of that ROG Ally white version, okay, that Xbox is coming out with Asus, if that price is in the ballpark of the Switch, then they're going to have to change. They're going to have competition in that space. But if that price is higher than the Switch for the lower ROG Ally, those things are not going to sell as much. Okay, they'll sell like 1 million, 1.5 million, and that'll be it. Okay, but if they want to really sell them, they're going to have to bring the price down, eat the cost. Asus will have to eat the cost. Okay, but they'll sell way more, and they'll get bigger percentages when they sell all the games, especially if people are buying those to play their Steam games and Battle.net and Epic Games and Windows. Because the convenience factor of that handheld, right? Like if I'm looking at two things now, obviously, from the form factor, I can't play Nintendo games on the ROG Ally legally, okay? But so the normal person will look at it and go, "Well, I like Nintendo, so I'm buying Nintendo." But if you're a gamer and you're like, "Well, if I buy Nintendo, I can only play Nintendo, and there's third-party games on here. But if I buy this and this is the same price as this, you can play all your Steam games that you already own." Right out of the box. You don't have to buy anything else. You actually buy the system, and you have all your games that you already purchased on that device. Okay? And then you have, on top of that, you can get Game Pass. And in Game Pass, you get Ubisoft Plus. And within Ubisoft Plus, or within Game Pass, you can also play EA games. So you can play Ubisoft, EA, and you can play the Game Pass games, first party, third party. Then you get your Steam games. Then you have Battle.net, so you can play World of Warcraft if you really wanted to on MMO. So this is way more value here if it's the same price as this, okay? And if you know what you're doing, you could play Nintendo games with the emulator and stuff on that as well. So much bigger value for the Asus if they price it right. If they don't price it right, then it doesn't fucking matter. Travis says, also gaming news, Capcom showcase today promises that to be troll fans again. So here we go. Crowded House says the ROG Ally sounds awesome, but $800 for a handheld, I can't. Right. The pricing is the black version. I think is going to be $900. The white version, if that stays at $400, $450, same price point as that Switch, then I think they have something. Roic says that seems like a no-brainer to make this process for it about the same as to make it 10 times that much with the games. But we all know that the suits are, the suits won't do that. Ray says, I'd rather get a $800 phone with the latest chip. Yeah, I mean, each their own, right? Like if you travel a lot, like I play Xbox games. I take the backbone. I purchase a, $80 backbone. When I travel, I put it on. I take my headset from my Meta Quest, and I'll use that, or I use my phone and I play games, right? This with my phone is fantastic, right? The backbone with my phone is fantastic. All I do, plug my phone in, and I can start playing my Xbox games anywhere, as long as you have good internet, right? Mo says should be $299 and $449. You're saying $299 for the white version and $449 for the black version? I don't think that black version is going to go under $500. No way. Lowest I'll go with that black version is like $700. Oh, you're saying it should be, but it's not going to happen. Yeah, it's that price point, man. Remember back in the day when you could get like the PlayStation for like $99? That was aggressive pricing because they wanted you to get the system so you buy the games. Now they think they could get the high price and they're going to buy the games. How much is the Backbone Pro? I'm not sure. This is just the Backbone. What's the difference between the Backbone and Backbone Pro? Is the Pro? I don't even know. Let me see. Backbone Pro is $169, but what's the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference with this? Play on screen, seamless Bluetooth, design comfort. Did they change, like, is it thicker? It looks like the same thickness. Oh, can you use the controller? Oh, so you can use the controller without hooking it up to the actual phone now? How does that work? Is that the difference? Backbone Pro is built for players who demand more. More precision, more comfort, more freedom. Designed for a full-size joystick, rear buttons. Oh, they got the rear buttons. Okay. This has got the RB. Oh, is it under, like, triggers? Larger economic shape, so it is larger for your hands. It delivers pro-level controls for every session. Flow state technology lets you move seamlessly between mobile, tablet, PC, and smart TVs. Okay. So that's what it is. So you can use the new one as just a controller when you travel. See, when I travel, I bring my controller and I bring the Backbone and my headset. That's what I bring. It travels nicely, everything fits, and I just take that one device. So my headset is the television set when I'm at my location, but when I'm traveling, I'm using the Backbone with my phone. So it's $169. See, that's expensive for just that. You already own the phone. That's expensive for the Pro controller. I wouldn't buy that. You used to be able to buy a full console for the price of that joystick. Give me 1 second. All right, let's see here. Backbone Pro has an audio jack. This one has an audio jack. This one has an audio jack at the bottom. I can plug my headphones right into there. This is the charging port on this side, and this has got the audio jack on this side. Switch 2 should be cheaper, in my opinion. Literally weaker than the Series S. Yeah. No, but see, now people are praising it, right? Kraken, the aficionados of gaming have said that the Xbox Series S is ruining gaming, but now the Switch is saving it. How? How is the Xbox Series S ruining gaming for next gen, and yet now the same games are on a shittier system, and everyone's like, oh, it's amazing. What? I'm confused. In not buying games, Mo says, in not buying games, and I'm not buying hardware either, already set. AliExpress says, so many great $20 to $30 phone gamepads. Isn't the Elite controller like $200? I don't know. I've never used an Elite controller. Never. I'm not that sweaty when I play Battlefield or Battlefront or any other FPS where I need paddles on the back of my. I'm good. I don't need to do that. You can keep it. I spend $200 and buy 3 controllers when they're on sale, so I have controllers when they break or have stick drift. Okay, I am not buying a $200 controller so I can get stick drift just as quick as every other controller. No, it's like 140. Yeah, I'm still not buying that. I don't buy full price regular controllers, and they're at like $70 now. Ray says, I buy my Elite controllers on the marketplace for like $20-$40, yet my favorite controller is still the cheap Turtle Beach Recon. Oh, is that good? I saw that at Best Buy. I have such a bad experience with Turtle Beach with headphones. I was like, if they make their controllers as shitty as their headphones, then I'm good. Crowd says, I think the price for the Backbone Pro is good when you consider that what it does for other console controllers do nothing almost the same price. I guess. I don't know, man. I feel like if it came with a screen, like $169, wasn't the PlayStation Portal $199? Wasn't the PlayStation Portal like $199? Wasn't it $200? And that came with a screen? Am I wrong about that? Let's see. Yeah, it was $200. $200 with the PlayStation Portal. You can't leave your house with the Portal. You can now, can't you? Weren't there people defending this? They said you could leave their house now and play games. How the hell can you say that both are running gaming when the PlayStation 4 is still in the circulation? Hashtag multigen. Oh, ruining. Is that what you're saying? Ruining gaming. Sorry. Can't read. I'm good. Ray says the cheaper cable Turtle Beach Retcon feels like a cheat. You can also control the speed of your thumbstick in real time. It also helps a lot with the recoil and using the sniper rifle. Interesting. How long do they last for, though, Ray? How long does that controller last for? Because really, Turtle Beach makes shitty headphones, so I don't know if they make their controllers any better. It's probably laggy as fuck. My experience, again, mileage may vary. The times I play cloud or through the phone or through my iPad or through the MetaQuest, there's times that I get a little hiccups here and there, but for the most part, I've had flawless experiences playing games. Now, obviously, I'm not playing first-person shooter games. I'm playing single-player games when I travel, right? But I did play. I played a shit ton of time when we were playing the First Ascendant. I played a crap ton. I played Fallout 76 a lot through the cloud on my phone, right? So I have played games that were multiplayer, and they ran great. So I would assume if you have a PlayStation and you're on good internet, it would run just the same. Rorik says, I got a Razer PC/Xbox controller. It's been really good so far. I had a newer version of the joysticks. I think it's called the HoloHex. Let me look that up. HoloHex. Is it Hex or Hoax? Hex. No. Let's see. HoloHex. Oh, is this it? Like something like this? No, that's not it. What am I looking at here? Third party Holo Hex. Like something like this, the controller? $325. That's got to be a custom-made controller or something. How's this? So many people defend everything. Company does. Who the fuck cares if they think? Personally, I got mine 4 years ago. I replaced it once in the warranty because of the mic port stopped working. So they sent me another one for free. But I bought the gamepad for like 50% off. Okay. Kraken 30, he's referring to the Razer Wolverine version 3 Pro. Okay. So you're talking about this thing right here. So it's an Xbox controller. This is $200. Does this work with all your devices as well? So would you rather get this for $200 or $169 for the Backbone Pro? No stick drift ever. Do they use the I forget the joysticks that you can replace and put in yourself? Yes, you can use it on PC as well. So, okay. So, for $169 for the Backbone Pro or this for an additional $30, I think I'd probably get this over the Backbone Pro if you're going to use the Backbone Pro for other devices as well, right? Obviously, you can't hook this up to your phone, like to hold it. But they do sell like a case where you can put the phone on top of the controller. So, I don't know. I think I would rather pick this up. I'm not paying $200 for a controller, but if I had to buy this or the Backbone Pro, I would definitely buy this over the Backbone Pro. PC tournament mode. Hyper. Like, what are we talking about? What? Standard mode and PC tournament mode. I feel like when you put it to tournament mode, it's like, it's like powering up. What does the controller do again? What does this controller do? It's just got, it can connect to all the devices. So if you want to play on your laptop or PC, your television set, or your headset, right, or your phone, it can hook up to it. That's what the Backbone does. The only difference is the Backbone hooks up to your phone. After you take it off your phone, you can use it for your PC, you can use it for all other stuff, but it's just this then. You know what I mean? It's just this empty space in the middle. It's kind of light. You know what I mean? The Pro's a little thicker than this, so it might feel like a regular controller. In that case, I think I would rather get that Pro controller for $200 than the Backbone Pro for $169. Also, on top of that, Backbone tries to sell you on their proprietary stuff because there's like a button in a store. They have like their own store. I don't use it, but they have their own store that they try to sell you on. Sean Fox says $200 for a universal controller. I'll pass. Well, we're comparing that controller, Sean, to the Backbone Pro, right? So if you would go between these two, obviously you're going to say you're out on either of them, but we're talking about if you're going to pay money, right? If you're going to pay money for this, right? This is the Backbone Pro. This is just the regular standard Backbone, right? I got this on sale for like $80, right? I think the standard price is $100, whatever it is. Okay, the Pro is $169, but this is $200, And for what this provides compared to the backbone, I think this would be a better buy for $30 more than the Backbone Pro for $169 or $170. That's what we're comparing. I'm with you. I'm not buying a $200 controller because controllers die and break so fast. Like this thing, when I travel with this thing goes back in the original case that it came in, which is a box. It's like a coffin, and I have it, and so I don't want it to get crushed or pushed or anything because I don't want stick drift. I don't want anything to hurt it. Backbone makes it so easy to playing on the go. Sure, if you're playing on your phone, that's what I'm saying. If you're just buying it for your phone, 100%. But they do sell the clips that you put on the regular controller that you can put your phone so it's at the top of the controller. Checking on the gaming pad, it's like $25 and it's amazing. Check the game wing. Is that that's what it's called? Game Wig. Game Wing. Game Wing controller. So this is this is like a competitor to the Backbone. Well, there you go. There you go, House. You get a controller that if you're just going to play it on the go on your phone, $28. $28 works with Android, Apple, Switch, Windows, AliExpress. And it comes with a cooler. So it's got this cools off as well, huh? GameStar is a good one as well. All right, well, let's look that up. Oh, they have a controller and they also have a mobile one, huh? And that's $34.99. Oh, look at that. And that comes, oh, that's got a little cooler thing as well. See, there you go. Yeah, that's $100, but this is $34.99 for this one. This one's $44. So you got a couple of different options there. Their house, instead of buying the Backbone. So there you go. Yep, down the rabbit hole. Haven't fixed that either. So yeah, but I think those are good things. I mean, if you travel a lot, I like my Backbone. I didn't know there was a Backbone Pro, and I don't feel like spending $200 on a controller. Are they going to break though? Well, the answer is yes. They're all going to break. It all depends on what type of person you are. Some people just throw their shit. I take care of my stuff. Eclipse says, has anybody watched the reviews of Ironheart? I saw a couple. Yeah. It's glorious. It's glorious. Speaking of glorious, I got 2 videos here I want to watch. Okay. One's a 6-minute video of RoboCop. RoboCop, is RoboCop out? The new RoboCop? Has it released yet? Or it comes out next month, right? Regardless, links in the description down below. We're going to watch All Out Gaming. They have a video about 6 minutes long here of the gameplay preview, just to tell you a little bit about it. We played RoboCop, what was it, back in 2023, was it? Or was it last year? Was it last summer or was it 2 years ago? Either way, had a blast playing this game. This game, when we first saw it, we were like, I don't know about it. Then they showed us more of the game. I was like, this looks great. Played it, absolutely loved it. It was like a $40 game, well worth the price. This is supposed to be lower than the price of that full game because this is a smaller portion of a game, not as a long campaign. It takes place in like one tower, sort of like the movie Dread. Okay, but let's check it out.
City Unfinished Business marches to a familiar beat that the base game did, but shakes things up a little with a larger emphasis on shooting and even more enemy types to take down.
Trouble then.
No modern video game translation of a cult 1987 movie had any right to be as...
Is it loud enough? It's pretty soft. Is it loud enough for you guys? If not, I'll make it a little bit louder. Let me see if I can make it a little bit louder.
good as the original RoboCop Rogue City. More than just a budget FPS that slapped the RoboCop name on the box, it genuinely understood the part man, part machine, all cop in a way few other video games and even some movies before it had, setting players off on a different type of shooter that did excellent justice to the character's heavier, more assertive cadence and movement style. Hence why it wasn't too surprising to see developer Teon return to this world.
The gunplay was really good in this game. The animations of like when you shoot people and the bloodiness of crushing their heads or throwing them and stuff like that was really fun.
So soon, not via DLC or a full sequel, but rather a standalone expansion that aims to lock everything the first game did so well down to a single tower block. The result won't blow anyone's minds, but it's hard to complain too much when you're gunning down thugs 80s style while that all too iconic score blasts
I don't remember that, Ron. I don't remember that at all.
away in the background.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, the music's fantastic, Water.
Heading into my hour-long demo of RoboCop Rogue City Unfinished Business, I was genuinely curious just how well this standalone story would work. The original game's narrative turned out to be one of the most surprising things about it, sitting neatly between the events of the second and third movies, while offering deeper insight into RoboCop's present and past as he faces a new enemy. Well, for better and worse, very few of these events bleed their way into...
So this is it's an expansion, but it's a standalone expansion, meaning if I leveled up my gear and stuff in the first game, it is not carried over to this game. This is a standalone and then progress by itself, right?
Unfinished business, it seems. Instead, it elects to focus on an all-new threat that tasks RoboCop with working his way up a single tower block in the manner of, say, Dread 3D or The Raid, all in the effort to put an end to a hostile takeover. The opening mission actually takes place outside of this Omni-Tower housing complex, seeing RoboCop explore a recently invaded police precinct that sees all of its officers butchered. It serves as a good enough way to reintroduce the base game's unique mechanics, such as scanning and investigating at a far slower pace than if players were immediately thrown into the action right from the off. It
This is alpha build footage.
also
obviously. It
does
says
well
on
to
the top.
appropriately establish the stakes.
It's covered by his logo.
This
but-
prologue eventually leads to OCP's discovery of the Omni Tower, which has been taken over by some of Detroit's worst gangs. You as RoboCop are the only solution, and it isn't too long after that the slaughtering begins. Much like before, the standard Auto 9 pistol is a great way to turn enemy heads into a blood splatter. Only being able to move with a heavy step and therefore a much slower pace than other FPS titles, it pays dividends to take down.
It actually feels really, really good. It feels authentic because RoboCop. Remember, we actually when we first saw, it, we're like, that could be annoying because all you hear is the doof, doof, doof as you're walking and stuff. But that's RoboCop. It's RoboCop. It's so authentic. It really is. It feels really good. It feels so good.
Human enemies as quickly and efficiently as possible. RoboCop's armor means you can take much more of a beating, of course, yet with Unfinished Business, I instantly noticed its nature to see your health deplete much faster.
Yeah, tuning in and hitting headshots like that, it feels good.
Likely due to each floor of the Omni Tower being so crowded with gangsters able to attack you from all sides. In these instances, as unnatural as it still seems, picking up a sniper, SMG, or even a rocket launcher and firing it at enemies is a must. Otherwise, you'll spend more time searching around stages looking for health packs as opposed to actually dealing out justice in RoboCop's uniquely brutal way. Speaking of which, I was pleased to see that Unfinished Business does much to retain its 18+ age rating, with blood splatters and gory deaths only ever just a
It really is good. It really is good.
Few trigger pulls away. In fact, this is an expansion that doubles down on the character's immense power, thanks to an all-new context-sensitive finishing move system that sees the camera temporarily pull out into a third-person view. It's a small touch, but one that I quickly came to appreciate.
Like
also new this time around are the new flying type drone enemies, which do much to take your gaze away from merely the ground or the odd balcony when continuously gunning down cretins. When these blighters arrive, it was easy to find myself having to...
If they do this, where if you can grab one of the drones and then tear it apart, game of the year. If I can grab and then tear one of the bots apart, game of the year.
Step up my reaction times
not actual game of the year, just game of the year for me.
Quite significantly, something that's not always easy to do given how slowly RoboCop moves by nature. Other than these, however, much of what I was actually doing in unfinished business didn't vary too much from RoboCop Rogue City. In fact, if anything, it's that action that is emphasized a lot more now, since the semi-open world sections
more action than the last one
that allowed for some semblance of investigation and respite before were nowhere to be seen in the 4 chapters I got to try. In the lead up to launch, Teon has teased flashback missions where players will play as Alex Murphy prior to his cybernetic transformation, and although I wasn't actually able to play any of these myself,
that could be interesting. Playing as Murphy before he was RoboCop, obviously it can't be as gruesome, right? You're not going to be RoboCop. You can't just be blowing people's heads off like that as an actual cop, can you?
I'm genuinely curious to see how this changes the rhythm of gameplay. For now, however, my demo capped off with a sequence where RoboCop himself was bound and restricted in the tower, causing a mysterious new ally to make the infamous ED-209 unit accessible. Facing off against this giant hulking bulk in the base game was a true challenge. That's why actually
oh, you get to use it? Bro. Alright, that's exciting.
Playing as it in unfinished business feels immensely cathartic, both because it wasn't possible before, yet also as stomping on thugs and blasting entire rows of floors away using rockets and turrets proves to be wildly destructive. RoboCop Rogue City Unfinished Business is the sort of standalone expansion that does exactly what it says on the tin, though most of its mechanics and presentation style is
Ron says all we need now is an extraction mode.
Lifted directly from the base game that came immediately before it, the addition of new weapons, contextual finishing moves, as well as missions that change up your perspective is just about doing enough differently to help give it a unique identity. Better yet, its shorter runtime will directly correlate with a much cheaper price point compared to the full game, and so far it's narratively riding the line perfectly between those who have played RoboCop Rogue City and those who haven't. There's still a lot to learn about how the story will land and how the Alex Murphy missions will play out. For now, however, it's still hard to imagine any video game nailing the act of being RoboCop as well as this.
Go. Those mercenaries are my unfinished.
They nailed RoboCop in this game. When we played this game, I remember saying, man, I hope they make other games. And people told me there's a Terminator game and stuff. But because they were so authentic with it, I would love a Judge Dredd game. I would love I know there's a Rambo game, but I'm talking about like a Rambo game like as good as RoboCop, a Judge Dredd as good as RoboCop, a Terminator as good as RoboCop. If they could give games like that, they don't need to be these massive, big budget $70 games. You know what I mean? It could be a $40 price tag and be a really good game, right? So I'm excited. I'm excited to play this expansion, and I'm okay paying the full price of I think it's $30. I think it's gonna be $30. So we have another video from them as well, which is emphasizing the action, RoboCop Rogue City Unfinished Business interview. Okay, so let's watch this as well. What's going on, Quintar?
You're going down!
Trouble, then.
Is it hard to come up with types of weapons and enemies that have to make sense in the pre-established RoboCop world? Does it make it extra tricky?
I believe it is, because this world is kind of limited not by
I gotta put subtitles on. He's talking so soft.
any kind of technology or something like that, but because we have to stick to those weapons which are like really similar to the technology which is available in the OCP or stuff like that. So we have to stick to those ideas from the original movies. We don't have like a much.
Oh, And this does take place between movies 2 and 3. And when I played the game, this is a better film than the film. Like, the game is a better movie than the actual third movie.
To create something brand new, because it will be like way too far from the movie lore, and I believe the fans we also didn't like it. So we also didn't like it because we are the fans also from the late 80s, early 90s of the movie.
So obviously there's the drone enemies, there's also the little spider robot.
We added small drones which explode. We added flying drones, which I believe they added like more versatility to the fight, because in the Rogue City we were looking for the enemies on the ground, maybe on some balconies, but this time they can fly all around the map, all the levels, so you have to be careful on much more.
And when you're creating these totally new designs that haven't appeared in the movies, do you have to work alongside the RoboCop license holder to like get them checked and approved?
Yes, so, things like that has to be accepted to be like.
Imagine people that have the IP say, "Hey, yeah, you can make a game, and we want you to be authentic," and they are authentic, not changing things around to make it, work for them. They're tried and true to what it is.
Like as close to the original franchise as possible. Yeah, we have to be really like realistic when it comes to the RoboCop armor. So we have all the serial number, stuff like that, supposed to be exactly the same as it was in the movie.
Down to the serial number. Down to the serial number.
Most of the action is retained within one building for the majority of this game, a really big building, 8 to 10 hours worth. Why did you make that decision as opposed to Rogue City's more like open-ended?
Hold on a second, let me see. Big major
8 to 10
game
hours
game.
worth. Why did you make that decision as opposed to Rogue City's more like open-ended structure?
We wanted to try a different approach for this, to add more combat in more linear way, but this is not the only thing what we have in the unfinished business, because we have other levels, like from the past when Alex Murphy was still a cop, so before he became the RoboCop, so we have like levels outside of those tower. We also have like bigger levels with 80-209, which we have to make it bigger because the Robo is quite big, so we're not able to put him into small rooms within itself. Also, we added a lot of new finishers to wipe out it.
So they break up the monotonous of going up the building, right? So basically you're doing what Division did. There's a tower, and you're going up floor to floor, and probably the boss will be up the top. But while you're doing that, they're breaking up the monotony of doing, Alex Murphy as, himself before he was RoboCop, and then the other mission as well.
Enemies in a more like efficient and funny way. We thought that the smaller areas will work better in this way.
I'm glad you brought up the Alex Murphy missions, and you might not be able to say too much right now, but
just
obviously,
basics.
yeah, but obviously he's not RoboCop by that point. And does that mean that the gameplay is a lot different? Because obviously you're not going to be as indestructible in those missions.
For sure you'll see the differences, because he was not RoboCop, so you're not going to play like so tanky. Also you will use a different weapon, because as all these old Detroit cops.
That's good. See, that's what I was asking. Like, you're not going to be doing what RoboCop did as him, so...
They're using mostly pistols. Maybe you will find out some SMG from the enemies, but you will not start with heavy weaponry.
The $1,000,000 question, can Alex Murphy jump? Who's to say?
Cops doesn't jump.
What was the impetus behind
I think it's cops don't jump.
making a standalone expansion as opposed to a DLC or a sequel?
After releasing the Rogue City, we wanted to say a bit more about the mercenary group from the Rogue City. We can like expand the story to another main villain. Maybe they can take control over this Omni Tower.
And did that come during the development of Rogue City, or was it after releasing the game?
No, it was during the development, at the last stages of development of Rogue City.
It's a big win to be able to work with Peter Weller with RoboCop. Did he take much convincing to come back for the expansion?
No, not really. He was really into it. I believe for him it was also a chance to get back with this adventure. He could come back to the role of RoboCop, which he probably loved, from what we've heard from him.
Is he aware of how well everybody loved the first main game?
I believe that we told him, or we shared this information with him, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But if we did not, we have to.
What's one aspect of RoboCop Rogue City unfinished business that you hope surprises people when they finally get to play it later this summer?
I really like to see the reactions of the people when they play as Alex Murphy. I'd like to see them finding our Easter eggs. I really want to see them exploring all the new finisher moves, like, you know, in the compilations on the YouTube, stuff like that. This is the parts I would love to see from my perspective. But I believe the team would like to see them enjoying the story.
Speaking of Easter eggs, when I previewed Rogue City 2 years ago, one of the first things I did was take the Auto 9 and shoot
So it was 2 years ago, right? Yeah.
someone in the mid area.
Yeah.
And
you mean nut shots?
Yes.
They're still here.
Yeah, I checked that. Yeah.
Okay, so
happy to
yeah,
see it.
they're still here.
So I hope that this does well, and they make another DLC, right? Like, I'm okay. Look, if you like a game and the game is well received, they did a really good job with it. So I'm stoked that this is coming out. We'll definitely play this on stream. One, it's not a full price game. Should you get the other one if you haven't played RoboCop at all? Someone, I think it was Roic, or someone said it was on sale. Or Ray said RoboCop right now is $4. It's a steal. Even if you got it for like 10, 15, it's still a steal. I think the game is really good. It's quite a bit. You know, I think it's like 8 or 10 hours long. I think it was perfect. I don't think it needed to be longer. I don't think it needed to be like 20 or 30 hours long. It was good the size it was. You can go it faster or slower based on if you want to do the main stories or the side stories or whatnot. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do with this. It does seem, more linear because you're doing up a building, but they have other missions in there that you get to do. But it does look good. It looks more like RoboCop. I don't think it's going to be a huge change. They're going to add some more things, but for the most part, it's just the same as it was before, which is good. So let's go on roadkill. All right, so we talked about that. We talked about the Netherlands. We talked about digital only. Talked about Mind's Eye. What time is it? 11:30. We got time. Let me see what else we got in the news section here. Oh, you actually know what I wanted to bring up? They'll hit me for it. I could show it and then cut it out afterwards. Did you guys see the new teaser for Superman? This morning they posted it. Did you guys see the scene? I want to see what you guys say real fast. Roadkill says they need to put RoboCop on Nintendo Switch 2. That would be fire. Oh, that would be nice if they put it on there. It's a great game. Where would you like to see them go if they made another RoboCop game? I think they could just go back into the city where they were before, but make it bigger. Like, I think one of my complaints about RoboCop, the game that we played 2 years ago, obviously it's a small studio, small team, but I thought it would have been cool if you could get in the car and like patrol. So, for instance, if you could do what you did in like Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights, I thought one of the cool parts about Gotham Knights was that you could explore the city and would stop crimes. Sort of like even in Spider-Man, there's like crimes going on, right? So you would stop crimes. It would be cool, I guess, sort of like the Precinct that just came out. Like you would go on patrol, drive around the city, get calls, and then go do them and then deal with the criminals. I think that would be pretty cool. Like make it a cop game and not just a main story, so it could be more open world ended type of stuff. I think that could be pretty cool if they did that. Also with a story on top of that. Maybe like a new underground syndicate happens and you got to go break up all the places, but you don't know where the places are, so you have to do some investigating to find and get. You have to try to convince people to give you information, rough handle them and stuff, and then and then it opens up on the map, and then you go try to find detective work, and then you do the open world stuff. That could be cool. Just make it a little bit bigger. It doesn't need to be this like like Assassin's Creed size map. You know what I mean? Just make the city pretty decent size, and you just patrol and do the story. At the late night show, whatever? No. This one is. Let me see if I can find it up on Twitter. I saw it earlier. It's going around. People are like pissed off about it. I'm not really pissed off about it. Just want to kind of have a conversation about it, where what you guys think. So I'll show it. And then I'll just cut it out afterwards because they'll hit me for it. Let me see. Because this will be a good conversation. Because I know it could get heated with some of you. Let me see. Where the hell is it? It was just a little quick incident of Superman coming into Lex Luthor's office. And I kind of look at it and go, would he act this way? Right? Now, obviously, people could say, yeah, you would do the same thing, but he's not us. He's Superman. And I think that's where people are misconstruing themselves for Superman. Because Superman is not human, but he became close to humans because he was raised by humans, right? So he's supposed to be the best of us, of what we as humans can't do. He does selflessly and doesn't get super pissed off and whatnot. How come I can't find the freaking thing? I had it this morning. It was everywhere on Twitter. Did they take it down? Oh, we're getting close. Okay, here it is. I remember seeing some of this stuff. Almost there, chat. Give me a second. All right, here it is. Right there. Now, obviously, when he is talking with the cup above his mouth, and he's saying the white dog with the cape, right? And Superman says, "What did you say?" Now, obviously, he's angry, okay, because they're doing like with John Wick. Like John Wick's whole thing was because of the dog, okay. My problem with this whole scenario here is that Superman, I don't think, would act like this. Okay? Wouldn't act like this. One, because Superman is supposed to be, obviously, he's not human, but he has human traits because he was raised by his father and mother. Okay? And he's grown up in a thing where he's selfless. He's got super hearing, first off. He could tell that he would be lying based on, because of his x-ray vision, he could see his heart and people move and they act differently and whatnot. He would have heard, okay, what he said instead of saying, "What did you say?" Right? Because he's got fucking super hearing. Okay? So there's a lot of stuff here that I'm just asking you the question is that, does this seem like Superman? Now, a lot of people are defending it because they're like, I would be pissed if it was my dog. But you're human, right? You're human. You have that reaction of if someone took something from you, you would be very, like irate. But Superman, because of his strength, because of what he is, he would have more control over what he's doing, especially. Now, I know this takes place like 3 years after he becomes like Superman or whatnot, but I don't know. I just feel like this doesn't encapsulate Superman. Again, this is a snapshot. This is a 36-second clip of what the movie is. And I don't know if the whole movie is going to be like this and how he acts, but it just doesn't seem like Superman. And that's coming from my perspective. So I want to hear what you guys think, right? Do you think this is, it's fine because that's how you would react to if someone took your dog, right? I just feel like Superman wouldn't act like this. Let me see what you guys are saying. Roadkill says the movie is definitely going to be shit. They got too much shit going on in it. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what happens with that, right? Roadkill says we also need to start with a simple Superman movie with Superman is young, but instead we got the whole motherfucker DC universe up in the movie. Sarge says Superman wouldn't act like this. Eclipse says, and in the comics he cries in Wonder Woman's arms, so he has human emotions. Sometimes that's what makes him a great character. I get what you're saying. Eclipse. I don't know, man. I feel like if we as humans break down Superman as one of us, because he's not one of us, that's what makes him different, right? He is raised by humans, so he would be taught emotion and compassion and stuff like that. But at the same time, he's also knows what his powers are and what to do and how to control those things. Because remember, he is also not human, so he wouldn't think like a human, even though he was raised by humans. There's still the instinct and whatnot that goes with him. And plus, the lessons they learned from, from his father. Quintar says, I like Superman wouldn't hear that. Yeah, he would definitely hear what he said. So that's another thing, right? Like, what did you say? Like, he would have been more of, I could hear you. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way I feel like it. You know what I mean? Or if there's a line right after that he says, "Oh, I thought you had super hearing," right? Maybe he says that. Right? Lex Luthor being a smartass, he's like, "What did you say?" He's like, "Oh, I thought you had super hearing." That would be funny, right? That would be a funny line to say after that. Now, obviously, it cuts off at 36, so we don't know what he says right here. Okay, right? We don't know what he says right after here. He says, "What did you say?" Like Superman says that. Like, I don't know. Roka says we definitely wouldn't act like that. Maybe he's going to turn into the red Superman, like the evil Superman. Well, maybe. Robert Jones says yes, depending on the version. Roadkill says yes. Are we also not regular dog? That's a special dog. Well, isn't every dog special? If it's your dog, it's a special dog. Smallville acted like it. Sometimes he was young. Sure. Right? But is he that Superman from Smallville? Like from that show? Is it from that universe? Where are we picking from? You know what I mean? Robert Jones says mainline Superman, probably not. Superman's in control of his emotions. Rowick says even though he's a human, he never has that many emotions. Even if the original, he will never got angry until he lost his powers at the diner. Right. Like, I understand there's many variations of Superman, right? And you can nitpick and pull from whatever it is. I just feel like Superman, okay, I just feel like Superman himself wouldn't act like that. Like kicking open the door, bashing in, becoming angry, where's my dog type of thing. Here, let's see, you know what? Let's go to, let me go to Twitter. Let's ask AI, right? What am I asking AI here? I'm asking AI, who is Superman? Right? I just want to know who is Superman? Okay, now from that, how is Superman? What's Superman's traits? All right, Superman's fictional superhero ranges in defining traits, both terms of superhuman abilities and also personally below breakdown. Here's his key traits. Right, super strength, check. Flight, check. Invulnerability, check. Super speed, check. X-ray vision, right? First of all, X-ray vision, heat vision, super hearing, super vision, super breath, enhanced sessions, longevity ages, okay, personal traits, moral integrity, holds a strong sense of justice, compassion, and selflessness, often refusing to kill, okay? Humility. As Clark Kent, he adopts his mild manner, unassuming persona, and blend into human society. Courage, fearless facing threats from street-level crime to domestic dangers, right? Now, that's a little weird because like he's angry, right? He's angry there. Hope and optimism. Symbolizes hope, inspiring others through his actions and belief of humanity. Now, his actions of kicking down the door and running in and like screaming at Lex, would he do that, right? Now, obviously, Lex says to the girl, yeah, film everything, right? So that's going to come back and haunt them. And I'm sure they're going to use that as the look at Superman. He's irate. He's losing it. Can we trust him type of thing, right? It says duty, feels responsibility to use his powers for greater good. Shape his adoptive parents, Jonathan and Martha Kent. Is smashing a person's door down using his powers for good? I don't know. Loyalty, deeply loyal to his friends, like Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, and even his dog. All right. Self-sacrifice, willing to risk or give up his life to protect others. I don't know, man. I just feel like his traits doesn't look like what's happening in the movie. And again, I'm not saying that the movie's going to suck in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying that doesn't really sell me on Superman. That shows me, as a Superman fan, that that's not Superman. Now, as a person that has emotion, can I get behind him that he lost his dog and Lex Luthor took his dog and he's upset about it? Sure, on a human level, but he's not human, right? He's not human. Eclipse says, I do agree, though. He should have heard that. Right. He wouldn't be like, what did you say? Like, all I see is someone peacefully protesting to get his dog back. Yeah. Silver says, I don't think what you did say means he isn't using super hearing or means he didn't hear Lex. I see it as an alternative to say it again. No, I get that. But that alone goes against what Superman is. Right? So obviously, Superman wouldn't say, what did you say? He would say something along the lines, I have super hearing, right? Like, stuff like that. He wouldn't be, first of all, he wouldn't be angry like this, at least in my opinion. The whole point of the new story is things could be slightly different. But that could be fundamentally the problem, though, Jones. Right? That could be fundamentally the problem. If Superman is just all perfect and good and nice and sweet, then he's really just Jesus. I'm fine with him being given emotion, even if that means moments where he also loses control of them. It doesn't make him Jesus, right? But at the same time, why do we have to break down a character to make him more human? Right? You could tell stories and have emotion without breaking down the main character that is a god, basically, but he's not a god. But he is like a god. If he doesn't know what Lex actually said, that's a problem. Right. You would hope that he would know. But again, he wouldn't act like, what did you say? One, even him covering the mouth, he could see his mouth through the cup, right? He can see him. Half the Justice League version Batman is worried about Superman being a tyrant. Sarge says, if this is a debate on how Superman behaves, you guys have lost your mind. Pick up a comic from the last 50 years. Superman doesn't act like that. He does in the past the 2000s. They've changed him, Sarge, but yeah. Rogue says, to be fair, he didn't throw him out the window and asked him about it. Right, he didn't grab him, hung him out the window. It's like, where's my dog? No, I get that. Yeah. Kirby says, Superman is just trying to impress Twitter by destroying billions of billionaires' offices for their pet. So I don't see why Superman would ask Lex if he knows he has super hearing. But that's the point. What I'm saying, Silver, is that he could say a line, I know what you said. He wouldn't say, what did you say? He wouldn't say that. Even out of anger, he heard what he said, right? 100% heard what he said. Not only did he hear what he said, he hears what everyone else is saying out the entire building. Oh, 100%. Now, what you're saying there is 100%. Him playing Lex, he's coming across as great Lex. 100%, right? He's keeping calm, which is funny, right? Because Superman wouldn't be irate like that, first off. But now that he is, Lex is the calm one, right? Like, I feel like the roles would be reversed, really, right? Like Lex would be so pissed at Superman, and he would be yelling at Superman. Superman would be cool, calm, and collect. Quintar says, I can see him saying that as Clark Kent. Yeah, not as Superman. I don't know. Again, it's not a big deal. I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, oh, this would be an interesting topic to bring up, because I know a lot of people have. I just feel like a lot of people look at it and go, well, if that was my dog, I would be just like Superman. But that right there is fundamentally, I think, the problem, right? Because Superman is not us, and we are not Superman, and that's why, as a person that looks at Superman, be like, we as humans look at him to be better. But if he comes down to our level, do you know what I mean? Eclipse says, I think that's what's going to make him this so good, because apparently the dude that's playing Lex came in to play Superman. Oh, really? That's interesting. They need to redo the whole scene. That's totally not Superman. I don't know. Obviously, everyone's going to have their opinions on it. I just feel like, it doesn't feel from a snapshot, from a 36-second clip, that doesn't feel like Superman. Now, the other clips that we saw from the movie seems like he's Superman type of stuff. But the more that keeps coming out and the more trailers they keep showing, I kind of said this last night with the Real Life Fake Wizard talking about Superman a little bit, that the more they keep showing, the more it kind of diminishes my love for what I just kind of don't care. I still want to see it, but I'm not excited to see it. Like, I love comic books, man. I love Superman and Batman and just like everybody else, right? I love the characters. I love the stories. Like, I remember even seeing like Brandon Roth's Superman when he was in, right? There was that scene where he like stops the plane hitting the baseball field and he like hits it and like pushes it up and you see the ripples going through. Like, moments like that is cool, right? Like, Superman doesn't need to be brought down to our level, right? There's plenty of other characters that you can do that to. Superman is not that character. Superman needs to be put on a different playing field, right? And as Silver said, like, he would be like a god, like Jesus. And I don't think he's Jesus. You don't have to put him in the same, right? Jesus was human, right? Superman is not human. He's from outer space. He's not one of us. He was raised by humans, but he's not human. Titan says, just the first movie. It's called Character Arc. No. But we're not looking at a brand new character here, Titan. We're looking at a character that's established. If it was a brand new character, then they could tell the story of Superman once again, right? But they're not telling the origin story of Superman again. They're telling us a character that's already established. And because he's established, we already know about Superman. And if Superman is not Superman, then why even tell a story about Superman, right? He's already got a predetermined set up to this point, and now you're telling a story, right? Superman saves the world, helps people, takes cats out of trees. Like, this is what Superman does. But across the years, now it's got to be like he's saving the planet, not just saving the neighborhood or saving the state or something. Like, he's saving epic adventures from aliens coming out of space and whatnot. We already know who Superman is, right? You can't say if it's a character arc, but we already know who Superman is. It's not a brand new, like, who's this Superman guy? Clips aren't doing the movies any favor. Yeah, I think the more they show, they kind of ruin it. They're kind of hurting the, like, show less. Keep stuff to the imagination. When you start showing stuff like this, it's like, I don't know. Look, I want it to do good. I do. The Real Fake Wizard last night was saying that he doesn't, he wants him to burn and stuff like that. And I kind of agree with that. But at the same time, I don't want it to fail, because if this movie fails, as he said last night on the show, the dominoes all fall, right? If this fails, this superhero movie fails, and Fantastic Four fails, right? Like, everything changes, right? Like, all of these superhero shows, movies, and all these other stuff is gone. And not only are those gone, and I'm not saying this because I want to see more. No, the industry just dies. Because if those things don't make money at the box office, then there's going to be major problems in the movie industry. And maybe the movie industry does need to burn. Maybe it does need to fall down. Maybe they have to learn their lesson. But as a fan of film, as a fan of these superhero movies, Like they got to stop bleeding this, right, and wasting their time and money on stuff like this when they can make better storytelling without changing so much. But Ray says the DC fans, this isn't Superman. Also DC fans, cool bloody Russian Bruce Wayne. Ray says the DC characters are different on all DC shows. Hal says, sorry, I'm way behind. James Gunn's characterization of Superman is completely off. I hate it. And I think that's a lot of people. A lot of people are like split, right? I think we as DC fans or Superman fans, you look at it and you want it to be good. And then there's some people that look at this and go, I don't like the way this is going. And then other people are hopeful of the way it goes because we're excited if this is good, then there's going to be a lot more good coming down the road. But if this is bad because this is the reboot of a reboot, right? If this is bad, then this is terrible for the entire industry going forward, right? And on top of that, like they're going from Superman to Wonder Woman to Clayface. It's like, Clayface? That's going to be a little weird. Trying to hard remaster an already developed character. Yeah, it's not a smart look. I think there's positives, right? Like Lex, I think looks like he's going to be a good character. He might be the best part of a Superman film, which is, my favorite Lex Luthor is Gene Hackman. Okay, I think he played a brilliant Lex Luthor back in the day. Eclipse says competition is always a good thing, so I hope neither of them fails. I want a good DC universe with the Marvel universe. I agree, Eclipse, but at the same time, I don't know, man. I think to get to that point, I think they just need to stop for years. Just give it a break. Disney did it again. They had reviews delete for Ironheart. I'll just wait for the MO that comes out. They're like, well, the show failed because you're sexist, racist, and misogynistic. That's going to happen. Then you'll have Robert Downey Jr. call in and tell people how bad they are because what they did to the character. You should do better, fans. Like Ewan McGregor did. Like Ewan McGregor called in for when the I don't even remember what the show was called. Was it Obi-Wan? It was Obi-Wan, right? When she had, I don't remember what the character's name was, but they're like, you should do better. You should do better. Like, Ewan, how much did you get paid to make this video? Look, I hope Superman is good, but let's watch it again. Let's watch that clip again, right? Let's watch this clip again. Maybe I'll think of it differently now that I see it. Okay, here it's I just him being that angry. See the way I look at it is Lex is looking at him. He's sizing him up, right? He's sizing him up, right? He's staying calm. He's seeing where his anger comes from. He's seeing where, he's telling his assistant to keep filming. Obviously, he's going to use this to blackball or blackmail Superman with social media, right? So I think this is where it comes off a little weird that obviously Lex would do this. This is a Lex character. Lex is going to use what he knows and uses what he finds out against the person. But it is a little weird that Superman is like this because apparently he doesn't. I'm assuming he doesn't know. He's never met Lex before, right? This is not the Smallville story where they grew up and he saved them from falling off the bridge and they were like best friends that became enemies. That's like right here. Superman can actually sense if he's lying because he can literally see his heart and whatnot. And maybe Lex is just so good that he's staying calm and doesn't know what he's talking about, right? See, and right here, he's like, oh well, maybe I made a mistake. Let me right.
He's just a dog.
Right? You see, he's coming back to his moment, right? He's going back to what Superman should have been before he came in. He's like, right here. Oh, looks down. Oh, maybe I made a mistake. Right? Now he's trying to appeal to Lex He's already showed his weakness. A superhuman alien standing in front of just a regular human has now shown his cards, has now shown that he's a weak, pathetic person.
I don't know what dog you're talking about.
Right? He's playing it perfect, but Superman, not so much.
Ugly dog, okay.
Dead stare into his eyes.
What did you say?
See, this, it just doesn't feel. It just doesn't feel. It doesn't feel like Superman to me. I don't know. What's going on, Altern? Quintar says more evidence that creativity has went exit stage right. Yeah, I just feel like at that moment where he's like, in Superman's head, he's like, all right, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. Let me try to go with this human in front of me and try to express my. He's just a dog, right? But Lex doesn't give a shit because he's heartless, right? It just feels weird. They have to crash the superhero genre into the ground head first. Angry Joe had a 1 minute, 40-minute talk about it. About this. Oh, maybe we'll watch that. Because he's a huge Superman guy. You should do better, Senator. You need to set it up. Sam Wilson, Falcon, and Winter Soldier. Yeah. You should do better, Senator. But that's what Lex does. Lex knows how to get under Superman. Oh, no, I'm not complaining about Lex's character, Eclipse. I'm complaining on how Superman is acting. Hal says Superman gets upset, but he doesn't act like this. Right. Ray says the jacked up tan skin Lex Luthor from the TV cartoon will always be my favorite. Well, I was talking about live action. Yeah. Robic says to be devil's advocate, this could be towards the end of the movie where Lex could have been one-upping him the whole movie. Superman's getting frustrated in the moment of weakness. Okay. Well, let's justify that. To play devil's advocate to your devil's advocate, what about if this is not the end of the film, but this is the beginning of the film? Does that change it to be okay? Right? We don't know where this takes place. Does that change the fact if it's at the end of the film or the beginning of the film? I don't think it changes the matter at all. I think Superman wouldn't act this way. The dog definitely dies in this movie. So is this where Superman decides he's going to kill people? Like, what happens? If he's this angry that the dog is missing, that he got taken by Lex, what happens if the dog dies? Ray says, do they really think they thought they could do John Wick? Maybe. And that's another weird thing. Because there's only 3 things that Superman like really loved, right? Was his parents and then Lois. Like Lana when he was in Smallville, right? But like, do you know what I mean? Now you're adding a dog. Eclipse says I was talking about Ironheart. Angry Joe did a review that was an hour and 40 minutes long. Oh, I thought you meant you talked about this for this clip. Ford says Superman's going to turn into John Wick. I mean, it is. Look, I get it. Again, as a human, I'd be pissed. But I'm also not Superman. So, isn't Superman supposed to be smarter than Lex because he has super brain? They're supposed to be equally matched. Like Lex Luthor's supposed to be really, really smart, right? So Lex Luthor is like his match, but he just doesn't have his superpowers. Same with Brainiac. Brainiac is much smarter, right? He goes into John Wick mode, just starts snapping necks and killing everybody. Where's the dog? Just starts shooting lasers, destroying buildings. He's like, where's my dog? He's like just screaming, like, what's happening? This is the guy that's supposed to be saving us? This feels like Superman is like, wait, this is my human form best friend. He wouldn't do this. Yeah, it just feels weird. We'll see. Maybe this is a nothing burger. Maybe this is absolutely nothing. It's just a quick glance. Maybe this is the setup so they can get footage of him acting a rate like this, and now it ruins his whole image, and then people turn on him in the movie, which I'll be honest, would be fucking stupid. Right? If this, I believe this is the beginning of the movie. I believe this is the beginning of the movie, and I believe this footage right here, where she comes in and she's filming, right here where he flips the table, and she's filming this part right here, okay? This is going to come back, and this is going to be the major plot point in the film, okay? This is going to be a major plot point in the film, where she films, sees him flip the table, sees him get into Lex's face. They show it all over Twitter or YouTube Shorts or whatever it is, and then it goes viral, and then everyone hates him because they like Lex Luthor. And if that's the case, that's a shitty plot. That's a shitty plot. But we'll see. I could be 100% wrong, but we shall see. Hal says it ends with Clark attending an anger management group. Altered says one thing John Wick and Superman have in common: don't mess with his dog. Well, remember John Wick? He barely even knew the dog. It was because the dog represented more, right? That's exactly why John Wick went off. It's because of his wife, not really because of the dog. Right? Silver says, have you seen the issue with the prequel novel for this movie? I have not. What's the issue with the prequel novel? If you want to give us the synopsis for that. Do you guys think I'm right or wrong about the social media plot line? I think I might have something there. All of a sudden, John Wick, right? John Wick and Superman are in the same universe, right? And they meet each other, and they figure out that they both had dogs been stolen and killed. And they had this moment like they did in the last Superman. Martha? Why did you say that? Why did you say Martha? Which is one of the stupidest moments in cinema. Clip says, yeah, I'm pulling for it. But if it's bad, it's bad. I'll let people know. Quintar says, dog was Wick's last connection to the normal life. Yeah, that was it. That snapped him. It's definitely something to do with that. I feel like he's doing the with the Bright Right story on that. Yeah, Lex stole his dog to get him angry, to get the videotape so he could get this. He played in this. He set all this up. He set this up 100%. But how would he know that Superman would act this way? See, and then what you don't know is when he put the cup up to his mouth, it's a lead cup. That's why he couldn't see his lips. Dun, dun, dun. What if Lex makes Krypto into a killing machine and Superman needs to kill Krypto, like Cavill Superman killed Zod? Interesting. Well, at that point, if your dog is gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, I mean, human or not, you're going to have to make that choice. And you're going to have to put them down because the greater good. That's what it is. You have to deal with that later. It's a kryptonite coffee cup. Robic says, I think you're right. And it would also say that you have to leave and then have something happens, and then it brings into the other heroes, and it tries to convince him to stay and help. Right. Basically, what's going to happen, and this is a setup, because Lex, from the other trailer that I saw, okay, Lex doesn't like this guy because he came out of nowhere, and meanwhile, probably Lex is jealous because he's done so much for the people of Metropolis, but they never give him credit. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes out of nowhere, starts saving people, he gets the credit, and he's jealous of this. So then he decides a plan to get him to look like he's, evil or can't be trusted, hence this setup. This setup shows him, they put it on social media. Social media then starts to turn on Superman. Then they hate him. Then Superman's struggling with the fact that he has to deal, and he's saving the people. But because he's saving the people, but the people hate him, he's like, I don't even give a shit anymore. They took my dog. The people hate me. There's a monster in the background destroying the entire city. And then all of a sudden, the other heroes are like, shit, this is too much for us. We can't handle this. So we need Superman. But Superman doesn't give a shit anymore. So they got to bring him back. And that's why the other characters are in this thing, to bring him back and go, we need you, buddy. Get back out there. And the only person that can do that is Lois Lane. Lois Lane says, I love you, Superman. Gives him a hug, gives him hope. And then he's like, fuck yeah, I'm going back out there, get my dog, and save the world. Ba-boom. Right? That's the entire script. Put it down. That's what it is. My son comes in and goes, that's a great movie. Right? That's it. That's the whole plot line. I got that from 3 trailers. From 3 trailers. That's what I think it's going to be. Right? Because the very first thing we saw from the very first promotion thing was him sitting in front of the window in the skyscraper looking over the big Kaju guy destroying the city. Okay, and he's just kind of putting on his boots. Then we see the other trailer where Lois is hugging him in front of the window where the monster's happening, right? He's like, I just know if I could do this, right? Like that type of thing. So there it is. If the plot of this movie is Superman has to come back from being canceled, I will never watch a Superman movie again. Well, I think that's what's going to be. Roic says, I don't have to watch it. Now I just no, you have to watch it because you got to let me know if I'm right. You got to let me know if I'm right. Silver says, oh, and earlier on, Lex refers to Superman as another metahuman. Right, because we're talking about the, Green Lantern and all the other people, right? We'll see. Look, I hope it's good, but I think it's very predictable. I hope I'm 100% wrong. Titan says James Gunn got canceled from Twitter. So he himself is inserting himself as Superman. Well, also the dog is his dog. I truly mean that. It's his dog. Like, yeah, there's Crypto, but he made Crypto based off of his dog. He's self-inserting everywhere. So if he's self-inserting his dog and possibly in self-inserting because Twitter canceled him and now he's using that as a plot point in the movie, then James Gunn truly believes that he's Superman. If that's true, right? Superman should predate metahumans, though. Well, it all depends on what the storytellers want to do, right? They can say what they want to make right. I mean, look what Disney did with God, I can't pronounce his name. I hate when I had COVID and my brain's all fucked up. The guy from the Acolyte show, the one that wasn't supposed to be alive yet, Killmundi, right? Where they brought that guy back. They could have put any character in there, but they wrote that character in on purpose because they changed stuff just to fuck with people, right? And they could do that again with Superman. They could change whatever they want, okay? Because makes their story more credible, even though they changed the story around and stuff. Right? You or me that know about the story or read the comics and are like, oh, this is how it should be. They're like, yeah, no, this has nothing to do with this, right? James Gunn even predated this by saying that there's Elseworld and then there's this. So they could just hand wave it and say, well, this is this, but this is not connected to that. Hal says, I got it. Superman has to kill Krypto. At the end, when Superman catches Lex, he tells him he isn't going to kill him. He lobotomizes Lex with his heat vision. Yeah. Okay. We'll see. All right. Yeah, see, I figured that would be a good conversation to have. I just don't feel like it's Superman. I don't feel like it's Superman. Like the more they show, the more I'm less excited. Yeah, even here, right? Hoaglaw, his tweet says, am I supposed to be rooting for Lex here? Like, do you see? It's just weird. Right? We're like already predetermined that Superman, we know who Superman is. No one likes Lex. Am I supposed to like Lex? Someone says, you're a corporate lawyer, so of course you're supposed to root for Lex. Lex excited? It's good, Altern. It's good. I'll give you 5 points. I'll give you 5 points. Lex excited. It's terrible. It's either give you 5 points or ban you for 10 minutes. I don't know, but we're going to be ending the show soon anyway. Krusty says, the movie will end with Supergirl's car getting introduced named Streaky. Cat, not car. Got it. Well, they are making a movie, right? So that's in production right now, so that probably is the end credit scene, right? She's coming in for the end credit scene. Akuda Papa says, so I guess we were saying DC is dead. Thank you much for the 29 months. Appreciate you. I don't know if it's dead. I mean, DC could stand for dead comics now, though. FNT says, damn, I'm late. Well, you're late, but you can always watch the past broadcast. You can watch that 1.5 speed, so you get through it a little bit faster. Is today the 20? Yeah, today's the 26th. Okay. Na Batman. Let's see what's happening on Twitter real fast. If anything else is a lot of Death Stranding. Any of you guys playing Death Stranding? Are you enjoying it? What else we got here? All right. We're going to go with, make sure you guys check out the past broadcast of Chatting With podcast with the Real Fake Wizard last night. It was a good time. He'll come back on the show down the road. Is a really good talk, I thought, anyway. And then tonight, Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you guys come out for that from me and Sarge. Just rant about video game news and whatnot. It's a good time. We're doing that. We're at episode, I think, 446, 447. So that's at 8 p.m. tonight. hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Definitely hit that like button, though, because it does help us out to get more discovery. Krebsy says, what if Superman movie is just a coke dream from Peacemaker? Oh, that's interesting. Will Batman be blue and gray in the DC universe? That would be interesting if he is. House. That would be interesting. Actually, I kind of look for it. I would love, and we keep talking about it for the last couple weeks, if Alan, the guy who plays Reacher, played Batman, and he wore the traditional, like, gray and blue. Aku says, nope. Did you see what I sent you? What the game seems like it might have a problem. No, I didn't see that. I have to check it out. I like your speed. I'm 51. Yippee. I'm slower. I get it. But my speed, when you put it to 1.5 or 1.25, it actually, I don't know, sounds better to me. No, just that everyone loves Batman. If it's not Batman, no one cares. It sucks. Quintar with the 10 gifted memberships. Thank you very much, Quintar, for your generosity. I appreciate that, man. If you got a membership from Quintar, make sure you guys thank Quintar. Appreciate you, man. And if you are a new member, you guys can join our Discord. Our Discord is open for everybody. You don't have to be a member, but if you are a member, more rooms open up for you for conversations and whatnot in our Discord. We also do live streams over here Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. Go past noon usually, but we say noon because it sounds better. And then we do talk shows or podcasts over on Thursday night. We do gameplay Monday through Wednesday over on 30 and Still Gaming. We have music before the show. And then we also have the music on our channel called 30 and Still Jamming. And we're in the process of right now getting our music up on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, all the major platforms. So that's being submitted. There's 3 songs up there now that you can check out underneath the artist of 30NSG, capital letters. The links will be in the description later once all the songs up there because we actually have an album that we put together. It's 20 tracks of all the songs that we play in the morning shows and on the shows and whatnot. So hopefully that'll be up in the next week or so. From the makers of James Gunn Peacemaker, here's James Gunn's Superman next to James Gunn's Clayface. Welcome to the James Gunn universe, starring the characters from the DC Comics. He's going to insert himself all the time. He's going to give Batman like frosted tips because that's when he went through that stage of getting frosted tips, right? He's gonna do all those things, Krebsy. James Gunn, insert into all the characters. I see myself as Batman. I see myself as Supergirl. Look, I like James Gunn's stuff. Like when he makes, when he makes certain movies and whatnot. I have no problem. But we'll see. We'll see how this turns out. We'll see how it turns out. It's going to be gun-tastic. Oh, my God. Did you take some pills this morning, Altern? You're like you're making, like, dad jokes left and right. What's happening? Right? You're not even a dad. At least not that you know of, I guess. He's making puns left and right over here. All right. That's going to do it for us. Nothing else is happening over on Twitter. And if it does, we'll cover it tonight over on GXG. Appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for hanging. Peace.
Sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is is on, jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixel small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. We're nitty tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming all the ways. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming all the ways. Laughs and news on winning blend, the show with you, our dearest friend. Comments rolling, chats arrive, the daily grind, 5-star vibe. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Good morning, sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time, with gaming news and fun below. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixel small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning